Welcome to the Explainer. You know that feeling when you're using AI to code and it just feels like pulling a slot machine lever? You're hoping for a jackpot, but half the time you just end up with a hallucinated mess. Well, today we are breaking down the NetNinja Claude Code Masterclass. We're going to look exactly at how to ditch that chaotic vibe coding and actually become a 10 times more productive developer. It's all about treating AI as a highly structured partner, not just some unpredictable chatbot. Right, let's dive into this. We need to move firmly away from vibe coding. You know, when you just toss a prompt into the void and cross your fingers, it's unstructured and honestly pretty chaotic. What this masterclass leans hard into instead is spec-driven development. Because the truth is, AI is at its absolute peak when you pair it with your real coding experience and structured project knowledge. Precision and control over guessing. That's the secret sauce. Here is our roadmap for today. We'll start by moving beyond vibe coding, master the toolkit, dive into spec-driven development, check out external tools and MCP, explore subagents, and finally bring it all together in the Pocket Heist project. Okay, section 1. Beyond vibe coding, the fundamentals. Now, this is a fascinating philosophy from the creator. You don't need to be an absolute AI wizard for this. It actually leverages your existing dev skills. So whether you're brand new to Claude Code, maybe you've tried it, but your workflow is a bit of a mess, or honestly, even if you're a total AI skeptic, this is for you. We start with the basics, getting it installed, tweaking the settings, and most importantly, dropping it into a real project. That way, Claude actually analyzes your existing code base and gets the full context before it ever writes a single line of code. Moving on to section 2, mastering the toolkit. This is all about context management, making sure Claude only sees exactly what it needs to see to stay highly accurate. But the really cool part here is the automation. You're going to create custom commands for those tedious everyday tasks and hooks. Seriously, imagine setting up a hook that automatically formats your code perfectly every single time Claude makes an edit. It takes this raw AI tool and forces it to fit neatly into a strict professional dev workflow. Next up, section 3. Spec-driven development. Spec-driven development, or SDD, is literally a game changer. Instead of vaguely asking for a feature and hoping for the best, you use Claude's planning mode. Combine that with the Opus model, which is an absolute beast at complex reasoning, and you're actually architecting and mapping out features comprehensively. You do all of this before any code gets written. Predictable implementation is the goal here. The day-to-day reality of this is what they call the SDD control loop. It's just 3 steps. 1, you review every single code change. 2, you jump into the weeds and make manual edits whenever you need to. And 3, you maintain absolute control of the dev cycle. You are in the driver's seat. You aren't letting the AI run wild, you are orchestrating it. All right, section 4, external tools and MCP. MCP stands for Model Context Protocol. And guys, this is a massive leap forward. MCP servers are incredible because they let your AI break out of its local codebase silo. It gives Claude Code a way to reach out and actually interact with your external developer resources, your servers, and your APIs. To put that into perspective, think about the integrations. You can use the Figma MCP server to pull precise design specs straight into your environment, or hook up a Firebase server to talk directly to a backend. You can even bake in what they call Claude skills. This is where you teach Claude exactly how your team does things. You give it predictable patterns for creating schemas or structuring database queries. It literally learns your way of working. Let's hit section 5, subagents and automation. So, why subagents? Well, when you spin up dedicated subagents, you get isolated context windows. That means the AI doesn't get confused trying to juggle a million unrelated details at once. And because they're isolated, you can actually run complex dev tasks in parallel. In the masterclass, you build 3 custom subagents of your own that slide perfectly into that spec-driven development workflow we talked about earlier. Finally, section 6, the Pocket Heist project. You don't just learn theory here, you apply it all by building a complete app called Pocket Heist. It's a really fun, slightly mischievous workplace app for assigning secret code names and little office heists to your coworkers. You know, stealing the manager's coffee mug, that sort of thing. But jokes aside, it provides an incredibly solid, realistic foundation. It shows you exactly how all these AI tools integrate into a full-scale build from the ground up. And you don't just stop at the app itself. Once the core is built, you move right into enterprise-level workflows. You hook up the Claude GitHub app to automatically review your pull requests and tackle open issues. You deploy to Vercel with automatic CI/CD so your production branch updates instantly. You even dive into Claude Code for the web, which lets you spin up remote cloud tasks and open PRs without running a single thing locally on your machine. Mind-blowing stuff. At the end of the day, the goal of this whole masterclass boils down to one massive leap: making you 10 times more productive. By saying no to chaotic vibe coding, by refusing to just one-shot an entire app with a single prompt, and instead leaning into this structured, spec-driven orchestration, you fundamentally change how you ship software. If you want to grab this curriculum, the source notes say it packs in a year's worth of the creator's learnings. You can find it at netninja.dev. The standard price is $15, but there's a limited time promo code ClaudeNinja that brings it down to just $7.50. Or it's included if you have their $9 a month pro membership. Which leaves us with one final thought to wrap up this explainer. Now that you know what's possible when you pair real coding experience with highly structured AI tools, are you going to keep wrestling with unpredictable chatbots, or are you ready to implement spec-driven development and become a true 10x orchestrator? Thanks for joining me today, and I highly encourage you to go experiment with these concepts in your own dev workflows.